Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our second session of weekly Roundup. My name is Anuj, and I will be taking this session. So before starting of this session, let me briefly explain you about this new initiative. First, it is a video series, so there will be no separate PDF available for it. The frequency of these sessions will be on a week basis, so most probably the videos will be available on YouTube channel on Sunday morning. Third, we will be covering the most important news which have occurred in the past week from the perspective of UPSC examination. Fourth, that we will be dividing this session into three components. First, main news, we will be discussing the news in detail. Second, also in news, we will be discussing news in precise manner. And third, we will be covering place or personality in news which was there in news in the past week. So let's start our today's session. In today's session, we will be discussing 5 main news, 7 also in news, and 1 place in news. In the main news, first main news is that Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve has been included in UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserve. Second, that NCRB has released 2 reports. So we will be discussing what are those 2 reports and how they are relevant for UPSC examination. Third, the 2 wetlands in Bihar has been recognized as Ramsar site. So we will be knowing what are the wetlands and what are the Ramsar sites. In the 4th main news, we will be discussing about India EFTA-TEPA agreement, which has come into the force on 1st October. Last main news will be that RBI has proposed measures for banking sector reforms. So these will be the main news. Also in news, we will be discussing about PM E-Drive scheme, AstroSat, Red Sanders, Sayok portal, special intensive revision, remission of duties and taxes on exported product scheme, Sir Creek, and in place in news, we will be discussing about Vietnam. So let's start with our first news. The first news for today is that Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve has been included in UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So in this, we will be understanding about Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve, where it is located and what are its characteristics. We will also understand about what are biosphere reserves and how they are different from national park and wildlife sanctuaries. And it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about environment conservation. So let's start with the news. So India already have 18 biosphere reserve. So Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve is the 13th biosphere reserve of India, which has been included in UNESCO's MAP program. MAP is Man and Biosphere Program of UNESCO. So this is the context, and along with Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve, other 26 new sites were added to UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserve. The other important development which has taken place here is that Sao Tome and Principe is an island nation in Africa, whose complete territory has been designated as Biosphere Reserve. So whenever you see such type of news which is related to some nation, please open your map and see for its location. So this is an map for Africa. This is equator. And Sao Tome and Principe is located somewhere here. So suppose I give you 3 statements. First, Sao Tome and Principe complete territory is designated as Biosphere Reserve. Second, Sao Tome and Principe is located in Gulf of Guinea. Third, that Sao Tome and Principe is located on equator. So what is your answer? You can write down your answer in the comment section. So that is the main development in this news. So moving forward, we will understand what is Biosphere Reserve basically, and how it is different from national park and wildlife sanctuaries. First of all, a Biosphere Reserve is a designated area or a protected area for the protection of ecosystem as well as sustainable development of the communities we are staying in that Biosphere Reserve. And it is divided into 3 zones. So the innermost zone is known as core area. The zone surrounded by the core area is known as buffer zone, and the outermost zone is known as transition zone. So you will be wondering what is the major difference between these three zones. So the innermost zone is known as core zone. Here the regulations are very high. The movement of humans is very limited and it is protected intensively. In buffer zone, some of the activities like research or the ecotourism is allowed. In the transition zone, other activities to support local communities are allowed, such as farming. So basically, this is about biosphere reserve. Now coming to the second part, how biosphere reserves are different from national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. So basically there are 2 to 3 differences between biosphere reserve and national park and wildlife sanctuaries. First, that national parks and wildlife sanctuaries are designated under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, whereas biosphere reserves are not designated under that act. Second, national parks and wildlife sanctuaries can be declared for an individual species. A biosphere reserve is not declared for an individual species. Third major difference here is that the movement of humans in biosphere reserve and wildlife sanctuaries is very limited. Whereas in biosphere reserve, as we have seen in the transition zone, the movement of humans allowed for certain activities. So this is the difference between the biosphere reserve and wildlife sanctuaries and national park. We will move further to know about the biosphere reserve in India. As we have discussed, there are 18 biosphere reserve, and before now there 12 were included in MAP program of UNESCO, but now cold desert has become the 13th biosphere reserve which has been included. So this is an infographic which has been taken from the PT 365 of environment of this year. You can see what are the 18 biosphere reserve in India, and in those wherever this MAB is written, these biosphere reserves are included in the UNESCO's MAP program, whereas this symbol is given, this is this means that they are included in the Ramsar site as well, and whereas this symbol means that there are also in UNESCO's World Heritage Site list. So you can go through this map where you will be seeing their location as well as in what special initiative they are included. So whenever you are doing such type of news, please try to locate them on Indian map and try to integrate other information as well. So here suppose there is a question in UPSC examination, which of the biosphere reserve is included in MAP program, is a Ramsar site, and is also a UNESCO's World Heritage Site. So if you go through this map, you can clearly see that only the Sundarban is included in all three. So if you put such type of information on single map, then only you can solve the question very easily. Suppose this information is scattered in places, so it will be very difficult for you to recall such information. So this was about the biosphere reserve in India. Now moving to the information about cold desert biosphere reserve. So whenever you are trying to make a note of some cold biosphere reserve, try to make them in a more holistic way. In what do I mean by holistic way? Try to divide the information in 2 to 3 boxes. So in first box, you can write the name of the biosphere reserve, that is cold desert. In the second box, you can write about is it included in MAP, is it included in Ramsar site, or it is included in UNESCO's World Heritage Site. So you can write in the second box. In third box, you can write about the other national park and wildlife sanctuaries which are included in a biosphere reserve. So for this, the national park and wildlife sanctuaries will be Pine Valley National Park, Chandratal, Sarchu and Khibbar Wildlife Sanctuaries. In the third box, you can write about various endangered species which are located in that biosphere reserve. So here species will be snow leopard, Himalayan ibex, blue sheep, Himalayan wolf and other species which are there. And in the last box, you can write about various culture and geographical features which are present in that biosphere reserve. In this biosphere reserve, there is Baralacha Pass. Now, what is Baralacha Pass? Baralacha Pass is a pass which connects Leh Ladakh region and the Spiti region of Himachal Pradesh. Okay, this is the geographical feature which is located in cold desert. Second, there are other culture important features which are also present in this, that are Gompas, which is Buddhist monasteries, and Buddhist chanting of Ladakh is also present in this biosphere reserve. So you can note down all the information in this type of a box. Either you are writing in your notes or you are making notes digitally. And it will give you more clearer picture about the information which should be there. And you can do similar for the other biosphere reserve as well. Now we will move forward to the PYQs. So the first PYQ here is, which of the following are in Agastyamalaya Biosphere Reserve? So there are 4 options. You can go through the option. Okay. So first way to answer this is that you know all the national park and wildlife sanctuaries which are present in Agastyamalaya Biosphere Reserve. The second method is to solve this answer by elimination method. So you might be knowing that Agastyamalaya Biosphere Reserve is located in Kerala, whereas Nagarjuna Srisalam Tiger Reserve is located in Telangana. Mukurti National Park is located in Nilgiris, and Silent Valley National Park is also located in Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So these 3 options can be eliminated. So answer will be A. So that is the another method to solve such type of question. Second question here is that most important strategy for the conservation of biodiversity together with traditional human life is the establishment of. So when we were discussing about the differences between national park and biosphere reserve, we address this issue or we address this statement. So the answer for this will become Biosphere Reserve. So this was the first main news. Now we will move forward to the second news. What is second news? That NCRB has released 2 reports, and those reports are about prison statistics of India and crimes in India. In this news, we will be understanding what is NCRB, what are those 2 reports, and how those 2 reports are relevant for you. So this is related to GS paper 2 governance, where the syllabus talk about protection and betterment of vulnerable sections. So let's move to the main discussion. So as I have told you that the first report is about prison statistics of India, and the data is given of 2023 and it is compared to the data of 2022. So that is the comparison in the report. Before moving forward and knowing about the data, let us discuss about the prison as a subject. So this information about prison can be asked in the prelims examination, and it has been asked in the prelims examination. Whereas the data of such reports, especially the reports of government institution, can be quoted in your answer to make your answer specific. Especially this issue of specificity and generic answer is very high in governance answer as well as in economic answer. So to support your points, you should have these types of data. So we will be understanding about prison. Prison is a state subject. under the state list and included in the 7th schedule of the constitution. And through what act they are administered? They are administered through Prison Act of 1894. In 2023, central government has come with the Model Prison Act, but it depends on the state government to apply that act in their state. So this was about the prison. Now we will move to the major issues which are given in this report. So these issues or these type of data can be quoted in your mains answer. What is the first major finding? That the prisons are overcrowded. And what is the national prison occupancy? It is at 120%. So suppose there is place for 100 people, there are around 120 people in prison. And how does it impact? It impacts the hygiene of the prison. It impacts the various facilities of the prison which are only there for the 100 people. Second, the under trial prisons occupancy is very high. It is at 73%. So the prisoners who are not even convicted till now are still languishing in prisons, and they are not able to come out because of various issues such as delays in judiciary or lack of knowledge or poverty. So major reason is poverty. Third major issue which is highlighted in this report is that the mental health and deaths are increasing in prisons, and which is visible through various, like the number of deaths through suicide are increasing in prisons. Fourth major issue which has been highlighted in this is that female inmate vulnerability has increased. Now females occupy around 4% of prisons, so they suffer various issues like the discrimination and everything. So these are the major issues. And when you will be writing about the solution, you can quote the recommendation of Mula committee and other committees so that your answer is very specific. Now we will move to the second report. Second report is Crimes in India 2023 reports. We will be talking about its major finding and how you will be utilizing this data in your answers. So the first major finding is that overall crime has been increased. Now the total cases are 6.24 million cases, and the increase is of 7%. So when there is increase in registration of cases, it also means that the governance is also improving. That why I'm saying so is that that it has become easy for people to reach police station and register their cases. In earlier days, it was difficult for people to get case registered. Now through online and digital missions, it has become easier to register cases. Second major finding here is that the patterns of crime is changing. Now the traditional violent crimes like rapes and dowry deaths has been on decline, whereas the crimes like cyber and urban crimes is increasing. You might understand why this is increasing, because the dependency on digital forum has increased. You might have heard about the case digital arrest of Delhi, where around 23 crore rupee were stolen or taken away from a person. Crime in urban areas is increasing. That might be due to various issues like inequality. And in cities, the highest crimes are reported in Delhi. The second important findings in this news is crime against vulnerable section. So whenever there will be a question about vulnerable section, you can quote this data. First, about women. The crime against women has rose marginally, but the domestic cruelty is still very high. What that it means? That the patriarchal mindset is still there in the society. Second, the crime against scheduled caste and scheduled tribe has, like crime against scheduled tribe caste has increased marginally, whereas the crime against scheduled tribe has surged significantly. And why the crime against scheduled tribe has increased? Due to issues like ethnic conflict in state like Manipur. So it was reported. And the crime against children has also rose significantly, which is 9.2%. And in that, the highest or the significant share is under POCSO, which is Prevention of Children Against Sexual Offense. So these are the major data. And we also talked about in the discussion that we will be knowing about NCRB. So NCRB is a central institute which was formed in 1986 under Ministry of Home Affairs. And what does it do? It is a repository of information about crimes and criminals in India. So this is basic about NCRB, and these are the basic data which are given in the two reports. So this was the second news. Now we will discuss the relevant PYQ. The first main question here is that what are the continued challenges for women in India against time and space? So there are various issues, but one issue is discussed in this report, that is crime against women. And in that also, the patriarchal mindset is very high in the society and the domestic cruelty is very high. So that can be quoted here, and along with the data, that was 29%. And second PYQ here is of the prelims. And what was the question? Question was, consider the following statement. Statement 1, in India, prisons are managed by state government with their own rules and regulation for the day-to-day administration of prisons. Second statement was, in India, prisons are governed by the Prisons Act 1894, which expressively keep the subject of prisons in the control of provisional governments. So these are the two statements, and based on these two statements and based on our discussion, you can mark the correct answer. So here the correct answer will be A, that both the statements are true, and the second statement is correct explanation for the statement 1, because we have already discussed about the prison at the starting of the news. So now we will move to the third main news. What is the third main news? That 2 wetlands in Bihar has been recognized as new Ramsar site. So in this news, we will be knowing about what are wetlands, what are these 2 new wetlands, and what is Ramsar Convention. And it is related to GS paper 3, environment and ecology. So let's move to the discussion of the news. So the context of this news is that Gokul Reservoir and Udaipur Lake in Bihar has been designated as new Ramsar site. So by the name of Udaipur Lake, you can get confused that it is in Rajasthan, but it is important to know that Udaipur Lake is in Bihar. And with inclusion of these two, now there are 93 Ramsar sites in India. Okay. Now, before moving forward, we will understand what are wetlands. So, wetland is an area where water is the primary factor to control the ecosystem. And it is a transitional zone between terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem, which is given in this statement. Suppose these are the this is an terrestrial ecosystem, this is aquatic ecosystem. The transitional zone between these two will be known as wetland. And in wetland, water can be floating, water can be static, the wetland can be man-made, and wetland can also be a natural wetland. These are the basic about the wetlands. So we will be knowing about 2 wetlands which have been declared, and Bihar has already 3 Ramsar sites before this, which is Khabar Jheel, which is located in Bagusarai, and Nagi and Nakti bird sanctuaries. So before moving forward, Tell me about which is the largest oxbow lake in Asia, and that is out of these three. You can comment your answer in the comment section. Now we will understand about these two new wetlands. So both wetlands are oxbow lake. What is an oxbow lake? Oxbow lake is an erosional feature of river. If rising or formation of mountains symbolizes the birth, the erosional feature symbolizes the death. So that is the basic, or that can be the anatomy which can be remembered. Second, how does oxbow lake form? So river flow in this way. Okay. Suppose you are driving scooty or you are driving bike. On the inner circle, it will be very difficult for you to maintain the same speed. So you will apply brakes here. Okay. And in the outer circle of the curve, you can increase your speed up to a limit. So at that area, erosion take place. So when this erosion and deposition will be continued for the long time, this deposition will increase in both these area, and this lake will get separated from the main river, and the river will flow separately, and the oxbow lake will form on the above it or the below it. Okay. So this is about oxbow lake. And Gokul Reservoir is located in southern edge of the Ganga river, whereas Udaipur lake is located in West Champaran. You don't have to remember the every district. You can basically remember the major parts, like it is an oxbow lake, that means it is naturally made. Second, it is located in Bihar. Third, that Udaipur lake should not be confused with the state of Rajasthan. So such type of information can be remembered for the prelims examination. Okay. Now we will understand about Ramsar Convention. So what is Ramsar Convention? It is an intergovernmental treaty under UNESCO. It is an important fact that it is an intergovernmental treaty under UNESCO. This is the second news we are reading today regarding UNESCO today. And it was adopted in 1971. Basically, Ramsar is a city where in Iran where this treaty was adopted. What are the objective of this treaty is that it provides framework for the conservation and wise use of wetland. So it does not only provide for the conservation but also promote the wise usage like ecotourism. What are the criteria for wetland to be declared under Ramsar Convention? The criteria are that there are 9 criteria, out of which one should be fulfilled. Various type of criteria are that it should support 20,000 or more water birds, or it should conserve biological diversity. So such in out of 9 criteria, one should be fulfilled to be part of to be declared as wetland. And when did India rectify this convention? India rectified this convention in 1982. So this was the third main news. Now we will discuss the PYQ related to this news. Wetland and Ramsar Convention has been a very important part of the prelims examination. So you can see there are around 2 questions which I have picked, but there are other questions as well. So first question is related to various wetland which are there in India or in the Ramsar sites, as the Ramsar site. So now it is very difficult to remember 93 Ramsar site, but you can try to at least locate them on your map and at least remember are they man-made or natural. So such type of basic information can be written on a single map, so that if there is a question, at least you can eliminate some of the option given in the question. So the first question here is wetland and lake is given, and location or the state is also given. So first is Hokera, second Renuka, Rudrasakar Lake, and Sastamkota. And the state are Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Tripura, and Tamil Nadu. So what you will do today is just try to locate these 4 wetland on the map and try to write the answer in the comment section, because at least you will remember these 4 wetlands where they are located. So the answer can be A, B, C or D, and which is given as only 1 pair, only 2 pairs, only 3 pairs, or all the pairs. Write down the answer in the comment section, so you will get more clarity if you will be finding these wetland on your own. The second question which was there in prelims was there in 2019. It is more of analytic question. The first statement under the question was that under Ramsar Convention, it is mandatory on the part of the government of India to protect and conserve all the wetland in the territory of India. In this statement, there are two extreme words. First, mandatory. Second, all. So, under Ramsar Convention, it is not mandatory. Okay. Second, the Wetland Conservation and Management Rule 2010 were framed by the Government of India based on the recommendation of Ramsar Convention. So, the Wetland Conservation and Management Rule of 2010 defines what is wetland and also various other provisions which are there for wetland conservation in India. But it was not based on the recommendation of Ramsar Convention. So, second statement also become wrong. Now, third statement will become automatically correct, but let us read that statement as well. The Wetland Conservation and Management Rule 2010 also encompass the drainage area or catchment region of the wetland as determined by the authority. So, you should understand here what is drainage and catchment region. So, suppose there is a lake and there are some streams which are flowing through it and providing it water. So, that complete area will known as drainage or catchment region of that lake or river. So, if you want to protect that lake, you should also protect the drainage and the catchment region of that lake or river. Now, this statement is correct, as it is important to protect the drainage or the catchment region of that wetland. So, the answer will be C. Now, we will move to the fourth news. What is fourth news here? That India, EFTA-TEPA come into force. So, in this news, we will understand about EFTA and the various provision of TEPA and how it can be asked in your prelims or examination. It is related to GS paper 2, where the syllabus talk about bilateral, regional and global grouping and agreement involving India, and some aspect of this news can also be used in GS paper 3 economic developments. Okay. So, moving to with the context, and we will understand what are EFTA nations. So, EFTA, which is European Free Trade Agreement. In this, there are 4 countries, which is Ireland, Norway, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. So, these 4 countries are not part of European Union. This is an important fact which can be remembered. And with EFTA last year, India had a trade deficit of about 24.4 billion US dollars, out of which India has the largest trading with the Switzerland. And Switzerland is one of the largest exporter of gold in the world, whereas the reserve of gold are not that high in Switzerland. The highest reserves are there in countries like USA and China. So, that is the basic information about EFTA. Now, we will understand the major aspect and the key provision of trade and economic partnership agreement, which has came into the force on 1st October. So, first major provision of this is that it is first binding commitment. Whenever such type of information is there, that it is first or it is the only, such type of information should be read more carefully. So, it is first binding commitment and it make binding commitment of 100 billion investment and 1 million direct job in India next 15 years. So that is the major development in this agreement. Second, it talk about market access of goods, and it covers around 100% of non-agri products in non-agriculture products. So India has protected its sensitive sector like dairy, soya, coal, pharma, and medical devices. So that is the second important aspect in this agreement. Third, it has improved access via mode 1, mode 3, and mode 4 of services. So before going further, we will understand what are 4 modes of supply of service recognized by WTO. This is very important for your prelims. So these are the 4 modes of supply of services which are recognized by WTO. So to understand this, let us understand by example. Suppose this is a country A, this is a country B. Okay. So what is first mode? It is cross-border supply. This is simple. You are supplying services from A to B. Okay, this is the first mode. Second, it is consumption abroad. Suppose a person move from country A to B and consume services there. It will be known as consumption abroad. And what are the example in this? Examples such as tourism and tourists going from one country to another country. Third mode is commercial presence. What does it mean? Suppose a parent company, bank, suppose SBI Bank, opened its branch in country B and function there. That will be known as commercial presence. And what is the fourth mode? It is movement of natural person. What does it mean? A person from country A is going to country B and providing services like nursing or charter accountant or architecture. If they are moving from country A to B and providing service there, that will be known as movement of natural person, and it is known as mode 4. So this information is important for your prelims. Now we will understand other basic provision of this agreement, that will be tariff reduction, that EFTA will eliminate or reduce import tariff on 99.6% of India's export, whereas India will eliminate around 95.3%. So that is quite understandable because India is less developed when compared to those 4 countries. Okay. Now other agreement which have there in this agreement are that IPR commitments are there, that India has taken care of its provisions like evergreening of products or generic medicine. Third, it mutually recognized agreement in professional services. Suppose I am getting a degree from India and I want to work in these 4 countries. So my degree will be recognized in those 4 countries to work there. So that is the basic part or basic provision in this. So in mains, the questions can be over broader themes like in role of India in joining larger trade agreements, or how India has fared with the free trade agreement. In some time back, there was a statement by the Niti Aayog chairman as well, CEO as well, that India should join large free trade agreements like RCEP. So such type of broader theme can be asked in the mains examination, whereas in prelims you can be asked about amounts of services which we discussed in this news. Now we will discuss one PYQ. That is the question in 2023. And what was the question? Question was that consider the following statement. Statement 1 is that Switzerland is one of the leading exporter of gold in term of value. Second statement is Switzerland has the second largest gold reserve in the world. So these are the 2 statements, and there are 4 options which are given. So we have already discussed that Switzerland is one of the major leading exporter of gold. That is the reason India has trade deficit there. Second, we have also discussed that it does not have gold reserve as high as countries like USA and China. So it does not have the second largest gold reserve in the world. So the statement will become, the answer will become that statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. So this will be the answer for this PYQ. So now we will move to the fifth main news for today, and this is the news here is that RBI proposes measure for banking sector reform. So RBI is a very important topic both in prelims as in mains. Whenever RBI decides something, not only those proposals are important, but the implications of those proposals are very important in your prelims, because you might have seen in the prelims examination now economic questions are coming in more analytic way. So you should understand the proposals and you should also understand the implications of those proposals. Okay, and this is related to GS paper 3, which talks about economic development. So we will start the discussion. So now we will understand what are the major reforms which are being announced by the RBI. So these reforms was announced alongside the Monetary Policy Committee. So you should also know about Monetary Policy Committee. It decides the benchmark rate for the banks, and it has 6 members, out of which 3 are from RBI and 3 are nominated by the government. And it is chaired by RBI governor. So this is about MPC. Now we will understand about the key reforms announced by the RBI. The first major reform is that introduction of risk-based premium framework for deposit insurance. Now, till now, banks was paying the premium on flat based. So they were paying around 12 paisa for 100 rupees. Now they will be paying on the basis of risk. So like if suppose a bank has more risk of default, it will pay more premium. If a bank has high security or it will not get defaulted, it has low risk, so it will pay less premium. So that is the basic. And what will be the implication of it? That the bank will try to get their loans more secured, and their security due to this framework they will pay less premium. So this was the first major development or the major reform which was announced by the RBI. The second major reform is that revised Basel III capital adequacy norm. So moving forward, before moving forward, we should understand what are Basel norms. There was one PYQ as well in UPSC, that what is Basel related to. So what is Basel norm? Basel norm focuses on capital requirement for capital requirement in the case of bank default or for the risk of the banks. Basically, banks have 3 risks. One is credit risk, second is market risk, and third is operational risk. So capital required for these 3 type of risk is governed by Basel norms. It gives some type of figure or percentage which should be kept aside for these type of risk. What do you mean by credit risk? Suppose you are suppose bank is giving loan to somebody that can be defaulted, that comes under credit risk. In market risk, bank also put their money in government securities or in various other securities, so that comes under market risk. And in operational risk, the risks such as crimes in the banks like bank robbery comes under operational risk. So these are the second major reform, and in this reform, RBI has said that the revised Basel framework on standardized approach for credit risk will be applicable from 2027. and it will also include lower risk weightage for certain sector like MSMEs and home loan. What it will do for banks? Then now after this revised framework, bank will require less capital that is kept aside for the risk, and it will have more capital to provide loans to the people. So that is the second major development in this news. And third reform which was announced by RBI is that it has broadened the scope for capital market lending by bank. Why RBI has done that? That FII is running away from India. Now in this year around 2 lakh crore has been moved out from India from the stock market. So to increase the confidence of retail investor in the stock market, RBI has proposed these measures. So what are these measures? That it has proposed to increase the lending limit of bank for IPO financing up to 25 lakhs from 10 lakhs. And limit on the loans against share has been increased to 1 crore from 20 lakhs. So these are the two measures. And now third, bank has also been allowed to finance corporate acquisition. So suppose one corporate is trying to acquire or is acquiring the other corporate, now they can go to the bank and ask for the loans. So this is the third major reform which has been proposed by the RBI. Now we will talk about the fourth major reform. The fourth major reform is that RBI has permitted the cross-border lending in rupees. And where it has been permitted? That it has been permitted to non-resident in the neighboring countries of Nepal, Bhutan and Sri Lanka. What it will do? It will make our currency strong and also promote the internationalization of rupees. Why we are trying to make our rupee as an internationalized currency? So there are many benefits of it, such as it will reduce the requirement of forex reserve. It will also reduce the risk of exchange rate. Suppose the dollar is fluctuating, then our import and export will also get hampered due to the dollar rate fluctuation. Now it will also ensure economic autonomy. We will decide our policy based without fearing about the issues such as that dollar can go down or the other issues in the world are there. Fourth, it will also increase our trade influence. So these are the benefit of internationalization of currency, and this step has been taken by RBI for internationalization of rupee. Okay, now we will discuss the PYQ. First is a main question of 2024, and what is the question? That what are the causes of persistent high food inflation in India? Comment in the effectiveness of the monetary policy of the RBI to control this type of inflation. So this question is not directly linked to this topic which we have discussed. But what here is what important information we can gather from this question is that the question such as the role of RBI to control various issues in the market or in the economy can be asked in the mains examination. The question can be framed such as what RBI is doing to promote internationalization of rupee, or what RBI is doing to protect the default of the bank. So these measures can be written in those answers. Second PYQ is a 2017 prelims question, and what is the question? Which of the following statement is or are correct regarding the Monetary Policy Committee? So this is the question, and the first statement is that it decides the RBI benchmark interest rate. Okay, this is the first statement. Second, it is a 12-member body including the governor of RBI, and it is reconstituted every year. Third statement is that it functions under the chairmanship of Union Finance Minister. So we have discussed about the Monetary Policy Committee in detail in the discussion. Try to solve this question and try to write the answer in the comment section. What can be the answer for this question? The options are A, 1 only, B, 1 and 2 only, C, 3 only, D, 2 and 3 only. So this is the PYQ. Try to write the answer in the comment section. Okay, now we will move to the next news, which is place in news. And today we will be discussing Vietnam. And why we are discussing Vietnam today? Because the typhoon Bui has caused widespread destruction in Vietnam. So whenever you are reading a news, try to read about that country, that is Vietnam here, and also try to locate the other countries which are neighboring it, or these water bodies which are present there, and see their location precisely, because questions are coming in a manner where you will be asked to locate various cities or countries or even the seas. So in this we will understand, or we will discuss the various features. First of all, it is located in Indochina Peninsula in Southeast Asia, and it shares boundaries with China, Laos, Thailand, and the South China Sea. Okay, these are the boundaries of this country, and it has maritime boundaries with South China Sea is located in east and south. It has Gulf of Thailand, it is located here, Gulf of Thailand, and Gulf of Tonkin is located here. So you should be knowing about their location, so that if there is a question regarding arrangement from north to south or from south to north, you should be able to solve that question. And the government type in Vietnam is Socialist Republic, and it has one party system dominated by Communist Party of Vietnam. Why we are discussing about this one party system? Because in 2023, after COVID, when companies was moving out of China, they were going more in Vietnam and Bangladesh. So it was there in news, and there was a question in UPSC prelims which talks about its governance system as well. So that was the question in 2023, which was due to moving out of industries from China. Now we will discuss an interesting PYQ. It is a 2014 question, and it is that what is the correct sequence of occurrence of the following countries of Southeast Asia as one proceed from south to north. तो मतलब एक आदमी या आप साउथ टू नॉर्थ जा रहे हैं, तो कौन सी सिटीज आप इंकर करेंगे? So the cities which are given are the capital cities of various countries of Southeast Asia. The first is Bangkok. It is the capital of Thailand. Hanoi, it is capital of Vietnam. Jakarta, it is capital of Indonesia. And Singapore, it is capital of Singapore only. So, go through the world map, see these 4 countries, see their capital, and arrange them from south to north. And also see the various seas which are located there, various states like state of Malacca. You will be get well versed with the locations of these cities for a long time. And try to solve this answer in the comment section. The answer, the options are 4213, 3241, 3412, 4321. So try to pause the screen here and see the world map. You can open the Google Maps as well. Locate these 4 countries, locate their capital, and arrange them to south to north. And write down the answer in the comment section. Okay, so these were the major news and place in news for today. Now we will discuss the quick updates for today. So the first news in the quick update is that PM E-Drive scheme of Ministry of Heavy Industries has issued operational guidelines for deployment of EV public charging station under this scheme. So this is the development. We will understand about this scheme. So before understanding this news, please be very clear that FAME scheme, FAME 1 and which was later named and extended as FAME2, which is faster adoption and manufacture of electronic device, is being subsumed under this scheme. Now that scheme is not there. Many of the students are writing about that scheme in their mains answer, as well as they are saying those about that scheme in interviews. So be very clear, this FAME scheme has been subsumed under this PM E-Drive scheme. So we will understand what it is. So this under this scheme, the objective of this scheme is to accelerate electronic vehicle adoption. So that is the basic objective, and it operates under Ministry of Heavy Industries, and major component of this scheme are that subsidies and demand incentives for electronic vehicles, grant for the creation of capital assets such as EV public charging stations. So this is the first news. So the major development in this news is that Ministry of Heavy Industries has issued operational guidelines for deployment of EV public charging station. Okay. So this was the first news. In the second quick update, we will understand about AstroSat, and what is the context in this news, that AstroSat is completed a decade of operation, and whenever such information is there in the news, such as 5 years of completion, 10 years of completion, 50 or 25 years of completion, it becomes very important for UPSC examination. So we will understand about AstroSat. It is the first dedicated space astronomy observatory of India. Okay, and what it aims for? It aims for studying celestial sources in X-ray, optic and UV spectrum band. Okay, that is its aim. We can also understand and study the celestial body from the Earth as well. Suppose this is the Earth, this is the atmosphere, and these are the celestial bodies. But the radiation which will be coming to the Earth will be very much diluted because of atmosphere. Atmosphere protects us from these high radiations, and if we move out to the space, it becomes easy to understand those bodies. So that was the main aim of AstroSat, and it study in X-ray, ultraviolet ray and optical ray. What are these? These are high energy radiations, and their intensity is very high. So you can try to remember this electromagnetic radiations, different waves, which is radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, X-ray and gamma rays. There are questions in the prelims examination as well, where UPSC has asked about usage of radio waves, microwaves, and also about other waves as well. So you should be very clear about these waves. And it was launched at 650 kilometer orbit by PSLV, that is Polar Satellite Launching Vehicle, and its objective were that it was for understanding high energy activities in binary star system and black hole, and it was also to understand the birth of a star and also detect new briefly bright X-ray sources at that time in 2015. Okay, this was the second main news. Now we'll understand the third main news, which is red sanders. And what is the context here? That National Biodiversity Authority sanctioned fund for red sander conservation. So you might have seen the movie Pushpa. Usme Allu Arjun keep on transporting red sanders. So before that movie came in 2017, UPSC has already asked question about red sander. We will also discuss that question in brief, and what we will understand about red sanders now. Where it is habitated? It is habitated, or it is native to the southern eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. It grows as dry deciduous forest. In UPSC examination in 2016, I guess, there were two statements. First statement was related to this. Second statement, it was given as that it grows in tropical rainforest or tropical evergreen rainforest. So that statement was correct, and the second statement was incorrect, and the first statement was correct. And now coming to the uses, what it is used for, it is used for fine furniture, musical instrument, and in the Ayurveda as well. And we will also talk about its conservation status. First, in IUCN Red List, it is listed as endangered. In CITES, it is listed in Appendix 2, and it is listed as Schedule 4 in Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. We have already discussed in the last session, whenever some species is listed in appendix of CITE, it will be included in Schedule 4 Schedule 4 of WPA 1972 after 2022 amendment. So this was the second news. Now we will discuss the third also in news, which is Sahyog portal. So briefly here we will understand about Sahyog portal, and the context in this news is that X, which was formerly known as Twitter, has appealed to Karnataka High Court judgment which has upholded the Sahyog portal. So what is the Sahyog portal? It's the objective of Sahyog portal is that it automates the process of sending legal notice to the online intermediaries for the removal or disabling of access of unlawful content. And intermediaries are provided with safe harbor. What it mean by safe harbor is that suppose suppose someone has written something on Facebook, Twitter or somewhere, so that intermediary, which is Facebook or Twitter, will not be liable for the content which is written by someone. That is the meaning of safe harbor. But if government has pointed out to intermediary that this content is not good, or this content is threat to the security, or it is defamatory, that should be taken down by the intermediaries. And if they are not taking down that content, they will also become liable for that content. So that is the meaning of safe harbor. That means at the first instant, they are not liable for the information. But in the second instant, if government is pointing out, they are liable and they have to remove that content from their platform. So it operates under section 93, clause 3 of Information Technology Act of 2020, and the nodal agency for it, Ministry of Home Affairs, and it operates under Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which is also called as I4C. So this is about Sahyog portal. Now we will discuss the next news. Next news is that spatial intensive revision of ECI has been successfully concluded in Bihar. So it is important for prelims as well as in mains, where mains talk about electoral reform. In the past week, you might have seen in the editorials that they are discussing, will we apply, or their need of SIR at the national level as well, and what are the issues which was there in SIR and how it can be further improved. So there were discussion in many editorial this year, and that is very important when we talk about electoral reforms. And so we will understand briefly about SIR. It is an house-to-house verification to ensure enrollment of all eligible citizens. So all the eligible citizens should be enrolled, and that is done through house-to-house verification. What is the rationale behind it? Because under Article 324, ECI is, Electoral Commission of India is empowered to register all eligible voters in the electoral roll. What is the legal provision for SIR is that Article 326 of the Constitution provide adult suffrage. That what does it mean? That anyone above 18 is provided with the right to vote. This same statement was asked in prelims, that is right to vote is a constitutional right. So if we go by the UPSC key, it was given as constitutional right, and this article 326 of the Constitution form the basis of that answers. Okay. So now we will go to the next news, which is about remission of duties and taxes on export protected product scheme, which has been extended till March 2026. So we will understand about this scheme and its precedent as well. So before it was launched in 2021, but before that there was another scheme which was merchandise export from India scheme. It was stopped at that time because in WTO many countries raised the issue that this scheme is discriminatory and it give undue advantage for the Indian export. So government has changed the name and also changed some provision so to make it more compatible to the WTO. Now that this scheme has been extended till March 2026. So what are the objective of this scheme is to reimburse the taxes, duties and levies at the central, state and local level that are not refunded under any other mechanism for export product. So basically it is for promotion of export from India. So this is about the scheme and it is under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Okay, so whenever you are writing answers about promotion of export, you can write about this step of the government. Now we will discuss the last news for the today's, which is Sir Creek, and what is the context here that India has criticized Pakistan over its military infrastructure development in Sir Creek area. So in this news, basically you should understand where Sir Creek is located and what is the dispute along the Sir Creek. So when we talk about its location, it is location here between the Sindh provision of Pakistan and Gulf of Kutch. It is around 96 kilometer estuary. And what is the dispute? A dispute is that Pakistan consider the complete area under its territory, whereas India's position is that according to Talwaj principle, that the boundary should be in the between of the creek, Sir Creek. So what does Talwaj principle says? Talwaj principle set boundaries along the midline of the navigable channel. And why this dispute is going on? Because when the area will increase, it is important for security purpose, obviously, but it is also important for economic purposes. It will increase our exclusive economic zone, and the Sir Creek, there are possibility that there are oil reserve in the Sir Creek. So these were the quick updates for today. So that we will end our discussion now. So before going, let me tell you about our digital platform, which is known as Digital Current Affairs, where you can read various development on day-to-day basis, and you can also solve smart quizzes there. So that is available on our Digital Current Affairs. So thank you everyone for joining.